As I stated in the overview, Lab 9 has a couple examples that are useful to go through to get a better understanding of some of the logic that you'll need for this lab. This video is going to concentrate on the key listener. So you can download the key listener. It's called Keyboard Listener 240. And when you open it up, there's three files. There is the key listener underscore example, and that just has the main to start it. And then there's also an initial frame. Let me just open that up, which it looks a lot like our control panel, that's fine. And then the main panel. This is where you'll find all the logic, because notice on line 5, this main panel extends JPanel and it implements the key listener. So the key listener is going to listen for you to type on the keyboard. That's the whole idea. So in Lab 9, we're listening for the spacebar to know that we want to start the game. In this one, let me go ahead and run the program, and then we can talk about how it's working. So in this example, when it pops up, it shows my first frame. It says press the arrow keys. And when I press the arrow keys, notice two things are happening. The lion is moving around the screen, as well as it's printing a message saying the key was pressed. All right, let me close this. Now, let's go back and take a look at the code. So in mainpanel.java, if we start up at the top, you'll see it's creating a J label. That's a text field that says press the arrow keys. And then it's also creating a button, and the button is what has the image of the lion on it. It starts out by giving it an XY position for where the lion will first show up on the screen. So it's going to be over 150 on the X and down 150 on the Y. Notice how it has set layout null. That's one of the things you're going to want to also do. It sets the background color, it adds the text, which is going to say press the arrow keys. It sets the bounds for the text, so that way the text will automatically appear in the upper left-hand corner because I'm giving it an XY value of 3030, and I'm giving it the width of 250 and the height or length of 30 as well. We're adding the lion button. We're setting the bounds for the lion button. Now, what's interesting here, right, is that we're using X and Y to initially place the lion button on the screen. But notice when we pressed a key, the lion moved. So let's take a look at that next. Let's jump down to the key pressed event, and it says if the key code, if KK is equal to the left key, then it says, well, that means I want to move left, which is my X-axis, and I'm going to take my X position and I'm going to subtract 5 pixels. So it's going to take away 5, it's going to move it to the left 5 pixels. If they push the right arrow, I add 5 to X. If they push the up arrow, because the way that the X and Y axes work in Java, Y gets bigger as it goes down. So in this case, if we want to go up, we have to subtract from Y. And if we want to go down, we add to Y. And then we set the lion into its new rectangle, which is now the new XY value. And then at the bottom, it has the paint component, and it says request focus, so that the focus is on the lion and not the text. All right, if we go back up, we left off on line 18. So then line 19 just sets the border so that there's no border painted on the lion. We don't have to worry about that for our button. And notice it has that set focusable that I mentioned in the overview. You want to make sure you include set focusable to true in your panel, because that will allow it to not move the lion when you click on the spacebar and you want to add the key listener.